Despite success in the Get the Guns campaign, the deadly weapon continues to be featured in the country's murder rate. In 2017, more than 1,600 persons were killed from over 1,400 shooting incidents. And, with the trend continuing in the first month of 2018, government has taken a firm approach to not only catch the perpetrators, but to curtail criminal activities for posterity.
We have reached the point where we are now prepared to take those firm and resolute measures to ensure that the crime monster does not destabilize the promising future that is in store for Jamaica.
Following this statement, Prime Minister Andrew Holness on January 18 announced a state of public emergency for St. James to deal with the spate of murders being committed in that parish. The order was gazetted by the Governor-General.
Beyond giving the security forces additional powers of search, detention, and seizure, a great part of these regulations is aimed at protecting and preserving public safety.
The regulations were tabled in Parliament on January 23, paving the way for the establishment of an Emergency Powers Review Tribunal. This body will deal with any issues arising from the security forces' operations under the state of public emergency in St. James. The three-member team will adjudicate appeals brought by or on behalf of persons detained under the powers granted to the security forces. Representation is also being provided through the Legal Aid Council.
We must fulfill our duty to protecting human rights and maintain a certain level of dignity, particularly for those that have been detained.
Since then, a number of persons have been detained. Among them are men wanted for serious crimes and some who are strongly believed to be connected to gangs in St. James. Firearms and ammunition have also been seized during the operations.
The security operations, which are in their very early stages, are going very well. We asked for and are getting unprecedented support from the public. We ask that members of the public continue to flood us with information. Tell us where the guns are. Tell us where the gunmen are. Tell us where the lot of scammers are.
The National Security Minister says dragnet operations are being carried out across the island in support of the state of public emergency declared in St. James. These are geared at capturing wanted men fleeing that parish. Strategic operations have been launched in St. Anne, St. Mary, Westmoreland and St. Catherine.
Divisions within Area 5 conducted a 24-hour blitz which saw increased visibility and intensified operational activities to include VCPs, raids, searches and visits to persons on curfew orders. 18 persons were detained in St. Catherine North and 1 in St. Catherine South as a result of these operations. Portmore St. Catherine has been identified as a likely area where displaced criminals may be housed. As such, a joint team from CTOC and the Fugitive Apprehension Team Mobile Reserve have conducted targeted raids on several premises.
The decisive crime-fighting measure will also be strengthened with the fast-tracking of key pieces of legislation. Debate on the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency MOCA bill began in the lower house on January 30. The Security Minister says a revised Firearm Act will be tabled in the next 3 months.
The amended legislation will feature new penalties and harsher mandatory minimum sentences. This is the way to go, considering that the gun features in over 80% of all crimes in Jamaica.
There is also a commitment to the completion of amendments to the Fingerprint Act within 8 months, and for the Anti-Gang and Proceeds of Crime Acts in 10 months. Corrupt cops will not be spared as government intensifies its crime-fighting measures. Among the measures being organized is an early retirement scheme, which will be implemented as an exit measure.
The new policy is with the Commissioner. He fully understands the issue of corruption and the overall impact that it has on the reputation of the organization, and has committed to begin the utilization of that important tool to hasten the transition of members of the force at all levels who are tainted by corruption or otherwise ineffective.
The matter of corruption is also being tackled across all public bodies and the wider Jamaica. As the Prime Minister points out, this is a feeder for criminal activities.
And so the state of emergency is not just targeted to the person pulling the trigger. It is targeted to every single player who forms a node in this network of criminal enterprise that is now a growing and thriving ecosystem, and we must destroy it.
And so, the state of public emergency is targeted to
reduced, contained the murder rate, disrupted and uprooted the criminal networks, and have protected and secured the life and treasure of the people of St. James,
while providing the space for other sustainable interventions.